My stepfather had been stealing my veteran disability payments for 3 years before I found out. Not skimming, not borrowing, redirecting the entire amount every month into an account I had no access to, while I was overseas believing my financial affairs were being handled by someone I trusted with my life. When I landed back on home soil and discovered what he had done, I did not lose my temper. I opened a case file. I am Marcus. I am 32, a former Army infantryman from San Antonio, and I served 2 combat tours before a blast injury ended my military career at 27. The VA rated my disability at 70%, which entitled me to a monthly payment that was meant to cover my living expenses while I recovered and rebuilt my life. Before my second deployment, I had asked my stepfather, a man who had raised me since I was 9, to serve as my financial fiduciary, to manage my accounts, pay my bills, and ensure my VA payments were handled correctly while I was unreachable. He had been my father in every way that mattered, or so I believed. When I returned stateside after my second tour, I expected to come home to a modest savings cushion, 3 years of disability payments minus basic living expenses. What I found instead was a bank account with $412 in it, a stack of unopened mail, and a VA correspondence letter informing me that my fiduciary arrangement had been flagged for a routine review. I called my stepfather that evening. He told me there had been expenses, that things had come up, that he had meant to tell me. He spoke in circles for 20 minutes and never once said the words I needed him to say. I told him I would be in touch and hung up the phone. Then I requested a complete transaction history from the VA and from every account he had access to as my fiduciary. What came back over the following 2 weeks was a precise and methodical record of theft. My VA disability payments, 31 months of them, had been redirected within days of each deposit into a secondary account registered in his name alone. That account showed withdrawals at casinos, car dealerships, a home renovation contractor, and a jewelry retailer. Not $1 had been spent on anything connected to my care, my housing, or my recovery. He had taken over $78,000. I did not confront him. I contacted the VA's Office of Inspector General. What most people do not know is that misuse of VA fiduciary funds is a federal crime. The OIG opened a formal investigation within 30 days of my complaint. They subpoenaed his bank records, interviewed witnesses, and cross-referenced every transaction against my documented needs during the fiduciary period. The case they built in 4 months was more thorough than anything I could have assembled alone. He was charged with misappropriation of federal benefits, a felony. His attorney tried to negotiate a plea that would keep him out of prison by arguing that he had acted out of financial desperation rather than malice. The OIG prosecutor submitted 31 months of casino withdrawal receipts in response to that argument. The judge sentenced him to 18 months in federal prison, 3 years of supervised probation following release, and full restitution of every dollar taken, $78,400, to be repaid with interest. I was present at the sentencing. I did not speak. I sat in the back of that courtroom in the same jacket I had worn home from my second tour, and I watched a man who had called himself my father for 23 years face the federal consequence of what he had decided my service was worth. I do not carry anger about it. I carried enough weight overseas to know that anger is expensive and evidence is free. To every veteran reading this, your benefits are protected by federal law, and so are you. If anyone has access to your financial accounts as a fiduciary, a caregiver, or a family member, review your statements. Request your VA payment history. It takes one phone call. It costs nothing. And it is your money, earned in ways most people will never fully understand. If you believe those who serve deserve to come home to what was kept safe for them, subscribe. A new story of justice every single week. I will see you there.